Good day, good day, good day. Crucian Mahogany here. Welcome if you are new here. Hey girl. And if you're not new, what you saying? Everything crisp? Everything blessed? Good. I hope so. Ladies, today's case is a case I had to bring to you because this case really angered me. It really angered me when I saw the case. I was just like, why are we still allowing people access? Why are we still allowing people take advantage of us? We really don't understand our nature, our power, who we are. And because of that, we allow ourselves to go into relationships and connections with people recklessly. That recklessness is something that we are all victim of. I can say for myself, I know I've been a victim of it, and I know that many of us don't even consider it victimhood. As women, we have to realize we have lost a lot over time, and we have to regain that which we've lost. It's time to regain that which we've lost. Today's message is going to be quite direct, and I hope that people can really listen to what I'm saying and understand it on a different level. As I think a lot of things we take for granted because we don't really understand them. This story today, we're talking about man sentenced to 3 years after recklessly infecting woman with HIV 14 years ago. When I read that headline and I think about we're sentencing this man for an act with one woman that happened 14 years ago. How many more women are there out there that this man has interacted with within those 14 years? Because as we'll find out as we go further into this story, this man knew he had HIV all along. He knew he had HIV before he went to deal with this woman. So was he protective? We talk about people in relationships saying that they want a man to be in their lives to protect them. Protect them from who? Who's going to protect you from the man who comes to you with HIV? How many women are out there that have interacted with this man? So let's read the story. Jermaine Scott, 39 years old, sentenced Tuesday. A Jamaican man who recklessly gave HIV to a British woman 14 years ago has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. 3 years. Wow. This really angers me. 3 years for taking this woman's whole life away. Now she decided to have sex with him. And this is where my story comes for you today. It's okay not to have sex with everybody, and anybody you meet. People encouraging this sexual quote unquote liberation are really doing a disservice to their womb. They're doing a disservice to humanity, and they're doing a disservice to Earth. Jermaine Scott, 39 years old, appeared in a Chester Crown Court in the UK Tuesday. He had previously pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm. So he had already been to court for pleading guilty for grievous bodily harm. Okay. Police say Scott was diagnosed with HIV in 2005 and had been prescribed medication that, if taken, could have eliminated the risk of transmission to others. So, 2005. That's what, 18 years ago? So for 18 years, this man has been living with HIV. As we can see, HIV is something that people can live with now, even without taking his medication. Because he apparently does not feel sick enough to take the medication, but willing to go and infect other women. Go infect people with this disease, with his worms. He has given this woman his worm. Her body is susceptible to those parasites. Everybody is. So we have to really be mindful of who we allow into us. He and the unidentified woman had previously been in a relationship and rekindled their relationship in the summer of 2009. He has been living with these worms for 4 years, and now he's rekindled a relationship with somebody he previously quote unquote loved, right? If they had a relationship previously, he's supposed to have loved her, right? Especially because they're now rekindling. Why would he rekindle a relationship with this woman? He is walking around with HIV. HIV, I'm sure, is taking over his entire body. He probably didn't look anything like it, but look at his picture. Here he is. Mustache and goatee connecting. When the relationship started, Scott was not taking his tablets. He has to take tablets in order to prevent risk of transmission to his partner. He failed to inform the victim of his diagnosis and went on to have unprotected sex with her. When the victim became conscious or suspicious, when she became suspicious of his behavior, so I don't know what he did to have her think suspicious. What behavior? They didn't explain that. The pair attended a sexual health clinic. Okay, maybe they're about to get to it. Okay. The pair attended a sexual health clinic in October 2009, where Scott provided a fake name and fake medical details to the health worker. Okay, that's quite suspicious. You go to get a health checkup, a STD test, and you put a wrong name and a wrong... Okay. Victim subsequently tested positive for HIV, and the pair ended the relationship. Following their split, Scott left the area. He find out and then he run. He run, leaving this woman with HIV. The incident was reported to the authorities in October 2009, and the investigation was launched to locate him, leading to his arrest in February 2011. He refused to answer any questions from officers, and despite a detailed investigation, officers were unable to gather sufficient evidence to charge him in relation to the incident. The case was closed. Wow. He was subsequently deported. So listen. How are you unable to get sufficient evidence? It's almost as though they were really trying not to get him in trouble. The man had previously been diagnosed with HIV. He had it on record since 2005. Now in 2009, even though, yeah, we know he used a fake name, but we have proof of that. So now, why is it that he's had evidence of him being HIV positive in the past? Now, all of a sudden, you don't have evidence to prove that this man knew and was aware and was given medication in order to prevent transmission to other people, and he decided not to use it. Scott refused to answer any question. He was subsequently deported from the UK in 2011 after it was found that he was in the UK illegally. So that was more important than dealing with him for, okay, so maybe that's the way how they dealt with it. Instead of dealing with the issue that he brought her worms, they went ahead to deal with it in a way where they just deport him, get him out of the country. Okay, so that's how they dealt with his situation. But shortly after his deportation, the victim asked for the case to be reopened. She's like, wait a minute, I'm gonna fight for myself. This man knew he had HIV. The detectives subsequently sought help from a number of medical experts who revealed that it was highly likely that the victim had been infected with HIV in the 3 months prior to her diagnosis while she was in a relationship with Scott. They also identified, okay, because now look, this is how technology, everything has its balance, and there's a lot that's happening that I think technology is really helping us in a big way, and I appreciate the technology connecting me to you guys, connecting me to all the people that will hear this message at some point in the future. This technology has been able to identify genetic links between the strain of HIV that the victim had been diagnosed with and with that of the offender. It's his worms coming from him. In 2019, the additional evidence was presented to the Crown Prosecution Service, who agreed to charge Scott with grievous bodily harm in February 2022. He was extradited back to the UK in November 2022 to be charged more than 12 years later. And he's gonna go for 3 months, which he's not gonna serve very much time. What is happening out in society right now is that he's gonna be walking around a parasite with a moldy private part. It has taken more than 12 years to reach this point, and having supported the victim throughout the investigation, I have seen firsthand the pain and suffering that she has endured, both physically and psychologically. She will now live the rest of her life forever marred by the actions of Scott. And we trust people who we think we're in a relationship with, and I think a lot of times we just really don't consider how big that decision is. We think of sex more casually, and then people convince you to think that it's just a casual thing. Many of us don't even realize how a lot of the ailments we have as a human race, as women, a lot of the ailments we have as women come from our sexual life. Our womb is sacred, and when we just give it away, it depletes us from within. It depletes us literally from within. And if we were to really understand the science of life, if we really were to get deep in our understanding of ourselves, who we are, what we're made of, we would really have more reverence for that. And I know it takes time to learn those things, and then if you're not looking for it, you won't learn it. My message here is for those who may come across this message and want to learn it. As we talk about these cases, I'm going to talk about it the way I see it spiritually, so that we can really get an understanding of what we're dealing with. While no sentence will ever be enough, I do hope that the fact that Scott is now behind bars and is being held accountable will provide her with some closure. Do we have any comments? Let's see. 3 years, but the woman he infected got a life sentence. That's not justice. Exactly. 3 years? And how many other women are there out there that this man has interacted with? Because you know, in his nature, it's not going to stop with just one person. He's a man. He's a male that is going to go out there and just infect other people with the mold that he has in his body that he's kind of wrong. That's also affecting his brain. He actually should have his Johnson permanently removed or not given any of the state supplied treatment medications while during his time in prison. With luck, he'll never make it to the end of his sentence. He's already in misery. Despite being only 13% of the population, according to minorityhealth.hhs.gov, Black males account for 62% of all HIV cases. Black females, 16%, costing taxpayers $30 billion a year. White males, 8%. White females, 1.5%. Wow, is this true? If this has any ring of truth to it, my message today is even more emphatic. Be careful who you allow into your sacred space. It's yours and you have to protect it. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to protect your core. Get to know who you are. Get to know what you are and what you bring to the world. Focus on that. Pleasure. Pleasure is not what we came here to do. It's a part of life, and we have to correct the way we think about life before we can even enjoy those pleasures. We don't have time right now for pleasure. We don't have time for that. That is not even pleasure. Could you imagine? That is not even pleasure. Choose your partner carefully. Get your mind right, and then you will be able to choose what's important and what you need to do carefully. He should be in prison for as long as she has the ailment. He needs to come to the clown show that is California, where the state legislature passed SB 239. Now, it's just a misdemeanor to knowingly infect someone with HIV. It's so heinous, it could only be thought of by progressives. You cannot put your life in someone else's hands. And we do that, and I am guilty. I have done it. You live and you learn. Look at this. They have made it a misdemeanor to infect someone Think about what that means for you as a person out here thinking, oh, well, they can't do that to me. And if they do, they'll get put away. Look, the guy that got put away 3 years, what does that do? He's not even going to serve 3 years. No one serves their full term. Now it's just a misdemeanor. So it's up to you to put your life in your own hands. Take life seriously. Y'all, this story really angered me. And let's talk about this case. Like, what would you do if you found out that the person you were with, like you went to the doctor with them to have a test done? Because maybe they were having some, issues. Because I'm sure there are symptoms that you would have if you have HIV that would cause you to want to go to the doctor. Go to the doctor with your partner, you find out that your partner is putting in false name and thing, fake name, to prevent his history from coming up. It ain't had nothing to do with you because he don't really care about you. Because he came bringing his moldy eggplant. He came bringing his moldy eggplant to come and give you. His eggplant was rotten. It was spoiled. Now what? You are infected with that mold and you have to live with that. What would you do? Comment below. Well, thank you for watching today's video. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you know who is reckless out here. Let them know that it's time to reevaluate how we look at life and the things that we really need to understand about how it works. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.